Earlier this year, I participated in my first MMA fight. So I've been doing karate for 25 years. I'm a third-degree black belt in Goju-Ryu karate. I've done Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for 12 years and in wrestling. I've done all sorts of tournaments, including bare-knuckle karate fighting. But without a doubt, fighting in the cage is the hardest thing that I've done. I'm a tax lawyer by profession. Been practicing for 15 years and the last 5 years been running my own firm. I also build legal technology through my tech company, Cartland Tech. Our headline product is AILIRA, the Artificially Intelligent Legal Information Research Assistant. And I was struck by the similarities of running a tech company and fighting in the cage. My career ambition was to be the tax lawyer at a mid-tier firm. So I steadily rose my way up along the ranks. I worked for large firms, for small boutique practices where I honed my craft, and I eventually got to what I thought was a fantastic position. And then I began reading about the future of law. In fact, Richard Susskind's books. And I realized two things. First of all, that there is a massive amount of automation that is not only possible, but secondly, it is inevitable. And we are just on the cusp of a once-in-a-generation change in the legal practice. And I realized that I can do that with today's technology. So I went in and I saw my boss and I said, I think I can automate 80% of your job. And he said to me, okay, show me. So I had to think about it, and I thought it's going to be much easier to do it in my own firm for various reasons. And so I went in and saw my really kind and supportive boss, and I quit a good job that I had worked 10 years to get. I was distraught at doing that. Like, I was literally shaking in the car on the way there. Like, who quits a good job? And I got to say, in law, there are a lot of bad jobs. So that was a terrifying experience. I saw the opportunity to leave because I had some clients approach me and said, will you work for us directly? And I said, okay, sure. It meant that I had the cash flow to be able to fund my tech developments alongside being at the right time and place with the right skill set to build the legal technology of the future. And even though I was terrified in quitting my job, once I left, my heart rate actually dropped 20 points. It was such a relief to be out there and master my own destiny. Whether I succeed or fail, we don't know, but it'll be up to me. Fudoshin is a Japanese term which means immovable mind. Fudoshin applied means that when you do something, you commit to it entirely. A punch executed with Fudoshin will be one that is committed to its intent to hit the target, which will make it stronger and harder. Another way of explaining Fudoshin is when you go, go. It means that you don't waste time with feints or dodges or half techniques. So you decide to attack, and you attack. And you're going to win, you're going to succeed or fail there and then in that technique. There's no second chance. It's all in. And it's the same thing with launching a tech startup and launching your own company. We all have doubt. We all have fear, and those things can hold us back. They can make us waste our time with dodges and feints and contemplations. But when you go, you should go. Do it, succeed or fail. It is terrifying getting into a cage, knowing that there's someone there who desperately wants to hurt you badly, and you could get injured. So to overcome that doubt, I got some fantastic advice from my karate instructor who would spend time in a Zen monastery. He said, to help achieve the state of Fudoshin, you need to imagine the worst thing that could happen to you and then accept it. So in the case of fighting, You go, I might get my limbs broken, I might get terribly knocked out, and I accept that. And once you've accepted that, you are free. Like nothing can hurt you. And so then you can fully commit. The same thing applies to running a company. You need to accept catastrophic failure, that you can be embarrassed, you can lose all of your money, all of your assets. And accepting that potential for failure, it sets you free. You can now take risks. You don't need to worry. You're committed. We see these fantastic startup examples of someone goes out and starts a social media platform and then gets some funding, and then suddenly it's worth billions of dollars. In law, things are different. You see, the legal profession is full of very intelligent and very conservative people. So bringing change into that is difficult and incremental. And that's just a case of convincing people to use your technology. There's, of course, the practical difficulties of actually building something that's really cool and does something fantastic. So there is a lot of grind. You just need to build something, fix it up, make it better, go out and shake hands with people, explain the same things again and again, get over that fear. But that incremental grind will slowly bring you forwards to your goal. Being a tax lawyer, the area of law that I understood most is obviously tax law. And that was the first thing that I taught AILIRA to do, to be able to automate research in tax law. Now, how do I prove that? What I did is I got my girlfriend, who is a speech pathologist with no understanding of tax at all, to use AILIRA and AILIRA only to sit the Adelaide University tax law exam. Now that is a demonstration of how we can leverage a human from like 0 to 100% using technology. We could have just devised AILIRA to pick up the questions and do it all ourselves. But that's not actually how technology is done in real life. What actually happens is you have a symbiosis of humans and machines, like Tony Stark and his Iron Man suit. So Tony Stark is just a human, but with Iron Man suit on, he becomes Iron Man. And so that's what we devised. And when we could show people that AILIRA enabled my girlfriend to get 73%, which was actually better than I got when I did my tax law exam, it's a very good demonstration. Being creative and developing new tech means you need to take risks and come up with new things that haven't been tried before. But unlike the stories where you have this linear, come up with an idea and then it works and everyone's worth $1 billion now, it's actually quite messy. There's a lot of failure along the way. A lot of these ideas that you come up with that seem really cool are actually terrible. Like I've made bad design choices, I've made bad technology choices, I've made bad staff hires, bad marketing. I come up with ideas for something that I think this is going to be fantastic, and it's actually just junk. And in fact, I would say about 50% of the cool ideas that I have are totally wrong. And that's probably me being complimentary to myself. But what does matter is that I can take those ideas and realize when they are wrong and cut them off. And so that way I have a Darwinian evolution for ideas. And so we slowly get better and better. Another way of putting it in the startup vernacular is fail fast and pivot. Admitting failure is not fun. It does not feel good for you at all, and your ego hurts. But one thing that I've learned in the martial arts is to defeat my ego. Like every week I spar with people and I get beaten. It doesn't matter how good I am, I'm still getting hit. And even as I've been training for 25 years, now there's a whole bunch of guys who are younger and faster than me, and I've got to learn new tricks. And so that constant defeating of your ego is a really important skill. And we can take from martial arts the countless losses and apply them and say, I'm going to accept the losses that I make in real life. There's only one thing you can do when you lose. Pick yourself up and keep going. Now, losing in a fight has a primal feeling to it, even more than a soccer match or tennis match. Like, you are being objectively defeated on every level by someone. Like, it is soul-crushing. And there is no better way than I can explain it than with this clip. And just as a hint, I'm the guy at the bottom who's getting his head pounded. Running a tech company seems cool. Everyone wants to call themselves an entrepreneur. They want to do a hackathon and disrupt the law and like eat some muffins and wear a corporate t-shirt as they change the world over 24 hours of butcher's paper. But it's actually really hard. Like, mostly things are just a grind. You're coming up with cool new ideas a very small amount of the time. There's 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. And so once you've come up with that cool design, then you've got to get money to fund it, and you've got to design it in great detail and deal with designers and get your tech guys to build things and then test for bugs and implement it and develop a marketing strategy and start selling and go door to door and shake a whole bunch of people's hands. And if this is, sounds boring, like I hope I've impressed upon you that it is really boring. Success is boring. Not only do you have the grind that you have in a regular business, but you have the grind of dealing with a whole bunch of novel issues that come from doing something new. Maybe they're dealing with regulations, maybe they're dealing with novel tech problems, maybe it's just a case of trying to get a whole bunch of people who don't know how to work together. Running a tech company creates a whole bunch of special new kind of boring. The boring grind of running a business has a lot of similarities with preparing for a fight. I was really struck by those, pun intended. So when you're training for a fight, you generally have an 8 to 12 week camp beforehand where you really work on your fitness and bring everything together. You're going to train 6 days a week. For an amateur, say 15 hours a week. So every day you get up in the morning, you go at night, you just have to train. Amateur fights especially are won and lost on cardio. If you can't do your 3-minute rounds for an amateur, it's 5-minute rounds for a professional, you're out. Doesn't matter what your skill set is. Doesn't matter if you're the best at something. If you gas halfway through, you're out. So you just need to grind. You need to turn up to training. It's not fun. You just put in the hours, get that cardio. And once you've got that necessary but not sufficient cardio, then you can really test all those skills that you've built up, in your striking, your wrestling, your grappling, your cage, strategy, all those things. But you can't get there if you haven't done the grind. Typical martial arts training regime might be 2 to 3 times a week. That's a lot of fun. But grinding isn't. And here's the best way that I can demonstrate to you what it feels like. Here's a clip from my training in my fight camp, and I think I was about 6 to 8 rounds deep. So I've just done 6 rounds back to back with fresh fighters. Each time I am absolutely exhausted. I'm on the ground breathing. There's only one thing I can do. Just get back up. Once that cage door closes, you're locked in a 30-foot space wearing your underwear and gloves against a guy who wants to beat your head in. You're there in front of your friends and your family and your teammates who've put all this time and effort into you, sacrificed while you grind. You're the star attraction for up to 9 minutes, and you have to hope that you don't embarrass yourself, do something terrible, a mistake, get knocked out. there's a lot of pressure there. Now, I've had a lot of different types of competition. It's very different being in a cage as opposed to sparring on the mats, whether it's karate, it's bare knuckle fighting, it's whatever. I'm a lawyer. I do confrontation for a living. Like, I fight against tax officers, grinding big, enormous, overfunded government departments who like to squish taxpayers. I fight against people in business disputes. I've been having confrontations all of my life. I've had plenty of real world experiences, and but this was just at a different level. It's really important that we understand what our strategy is. I remember going to an MMA seminar a few years ago by a famous coach, and he asked everyone in the room what their strategy was. Are you a grappler or a striker? I was the only one that raised my hand, and I said, I'm a striker. I know what I'm doing. And in karate, I know what my strategy is. It's very simple. I'm going to hit them in the head and knock them out. I said to my MMA coach, I said, I'm a striker. I'm going to end this fight in 30 seconds. He says, no, but you need to be prepared for 9 minutes. Like, yeah, I need to be prepared for 9 minutes, but this is my strategy. This is how I play. I'm going to use Fudoshin. I'm going to hit him a couple of times hard. I know exactly what I'm going to do, and I'm either going to win or lose in that. If it continued on and went to a grappling match, it's going to be much more even. I need to keep this standing up on my feet and strike and execute my strategy. There's another Japanese concept, Ippon Issatsu. It means one hit, one kill. Like, you're entirely encapsulated in that one strike. That's what I was aiming for. That's what I got. I knocked the guy out in 6 seconds, which is an Australian record for cage fighting. I executed my technique, my strikes with Fudoshin, and finished it according to plan. I think it's a cliche to thank your family, your friends, and your coach, and your teammates. There's a reason why everyone does it. Teamwork makes the dream work. You can't get to be there and be that guy that everyone's looking at unless you have a massive infrastructure of people around you supporting you. You need sparring partners. You need multiple coaches. I had an MMA coach, a striking coach, a wrestling coach, a BJJ coach, a judo coach, all of these people to get you to that position. And the same is in business. We see the high-flying tech founders and we go, wow, they're so great. They're so brilliant. But underneath them is not only their staff and investors and people who have pushed them along, but their friends and their family have given up their weekends and their public holidays while they have gone and grounded out. They've made sacrifices financially, career-wise, to enable someone to get there. So we should never forget that we're indebted to the people who are around us. In summary, we're going to make 5 points. 1, it's petrifying to take the leap. To get over that, you need to accept the worst that could happen to you. Then you will be invincible. 2, when you go, go. Apply Fudoshin, an immovable mind, to your decision and entirely commit to it. 3, sometimes the world beats on you. You need to accept losing and defeat your ego, and then you can learn the lessons and move on. 4, mostly it's a grind. 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. You just need to put in the hours and do all of the boring things to reach success. 5, teamwork makes the dream work. Behind every success, there's an army of support, enabling them to get to where they're going. I hope you've enjoyed the analogy between running a tech company and fighting in the cage. If you're interested in seeing the kind of cool stuff we're doing with AILIRA, have a look at www.ailira.com. And we set out some of the fun things that we've been building, like research algorithms that can read huge amounts of text and analyze that for you. You can see our chatbot platform that's used in dozens of universities. You can see our law firm without lawyers. We also build customized legal tech for people because there's so much that can be built and it's really a lot of fun. So if you'd like us to build something for you or you'd like to use some of our technology, be pleased to chat. And I can hopefully share my vision with you for what law is going to look like over the next 20 years. Thank you.